partner with the medical system in Cuba, the National Medical Association.
Yes. Yeah. Well, they do a program where they take groups of doctors there to review their system. And they're also taking medical students into their medical school, which you know is the largest medical school in the world now.
No, I did not know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they are the doctors that provide all of the care to Africa, all of South America, and everything. Very advanced system.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and I also had the brother.
She can hear you.
The brother of who?
Marvin Gaye.
Who?
Marvin Gaye.
Oh, wow.
That's going to be
Is this
really
his
interesting.
anniversary or something?
Yeah, well, he, his father killed, Marvin Gaye.
Right, I know his father killed him. They got into an argument.
And he
yeah.
talked about a book that he wrote. It's the memoirs from the brother of Marvin Gaye. A really interesting conversation.
Oh, wow.
So you're going to be on a big podcast. We're going to get views for these.
Oh, wow. Get out of here. Okay.
All right,
One little second.
Okay, you want to get started?
Not yet. She has to sit down.
Oh, just 2 minutes. 1 minute. Going back well. Okay. Well, what is that?
Yeah, it's about 35 minutes. Because we got to get out by 8. Okay.
So let's go to 7:45.
Yeah, 7:45 start to wrap up. 7:45, 7:50. Okay?
I gotcha.
I'm sure we can get some really great stuff in 35 minutes.
No,
Are you ready, Dr. Caine? This is Jerome.
I am.
Okay.
click this, Jerome. So I'll show you something. All right. So as long as that audio's red,
Right. She's
it'll be on the entire time.
got it. Okay.
And then these two have to be selected for Doc to hear it and for us to hear it.
Doc, can you hear her?
I can hear her.
Got it. I remember that. Okay, Dr. Caine.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Robinson is I'm going to count down. Dr. Robinson is going to introduce the show and then introduce you. Okay? And then.
Hold on 1 minute. I'm going to change my glasses. Let me see if these are better glasses. 1 minute. Sorry, 1 second. These may be a better match for my suit that I'm wearing. Sorry. I'm trying to figure out which one looks more intelligent.
Gotcha.
They're about the same. Okay. Let me go back to my original. Sorry. Okay, yeah, I'll go back to original. Okay, I'm ready.
All right. I'm going to count down. Doc, you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
All right, Doc. Look straight ahead. You're on the camera straight ahead. Okay. Insightful Journal with Dr. Caine. 10, 9, 8, 5, 4, 3.
Welcome to the Insightful Journal, where we deal with issues that affect health disparities here in America, which are some of the most egregious problems that we face. Today, we have a very special guest, my friend and colleague, Dr. Virginia Caine, the current president of the National Medical Association and also the Commissioner of Health for the city of Indianapolis, Indiana. Welcome, Dr. Caine, and it's wonderful to have you here. Let's start off right away, which I'm trying to get some of these questions answered. And I'm going to divide it up into a couple parts because there's a lot of stuff that we're going to discuss. Let's start off with the National Medical Association.
Well, first, let me just say thank you, and I'm honored to be on your show. You know, for a former health officer and someone's done an incredible job in the past. I just look forward to the dialogue.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Caine. You know, we've been very busy, and a lot of our colleagues in public health has been on. In fact, Dr. Su said to give you his regards. I talked with him earlier today. And we've got some very interesting issues that we have to deal with here in public health. I know that you are the incoming president of the National Medical Association. Can you tell me a little bit about what your plans are in terms of the National Medical Association this year, and what are you going to be focusing on?
So first, let me just say, for those viewers out there who may not know who the National Medical Association is, we've been around since 1895. We're the largest Black physician group in the country. But more important than that, we were the first ones with Lyndon B. Johnson in order to advocate for Medicaid and Medicare. We were the only medical association to do that. And our president was on Air Force One with Lyndon B. Johnson, and we were standing right behind him in the White House when that significant signature that changed the landscape of how healthcare is done in this country happened. So I just want to tell you about our strong advocacy that we do on behalf of our patients in the healthcare system. So in terms of my platform, for those who may not know, I am not only the director and chief medical officer for the Marion County Public Health Department in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm an associate professor of medicine in the Division of Infectious Diseases at Indiana University School of Medicine, and I practice out of the 5th largest public health hospital in the country called Ashkenazi Health. And so I think when we look at what our possible concerns may be with the incoming administration and Congress, we have to realize that the number one issue that's so critical for us to be healthy is to have access to insurance. And so we have about 25 states that have Medicaid expansion, but other states did not have that happen during the COVID-19 pandemic. And so we want to assure ourselves to make sure that in those states that have Medicaid expansion, we don't want to eliminate that. So many of our vulnerable populations, disadvantaged populations, if they don't have insurance, it's one of the greatest barriers to accessing health care. And we've got our work cut out for us. And our work cut out for us is we need to go to those other states that did not have Medicaid expansion to strongly advocate for that so that people can have insurance in order to get the care that they need.
That's very important. And as you know, that's the main topic in the news these days about healthcare and about United Healthcare and about these agencies which are supposed to be providing healthcare to individuals. And these individuals, many times they have what's called the Medicaid managed plan. And so these individuals are on welfare or get state assistance. It comes through the states. For these programs. I know that I have quite a few of my patients, who are on those programs, and it's very important that we offer this level of care. So you know that I've been an advocate of doing away with all of this. I think we should have a single payer, universal health care plan, but we aren't there yet. But I'm still hopeful that we're going to get there like every other major industrialized country in the world. But for the time being, we have to deal with what we have, Well,
let me tell you what you don't know, okay? And this is where the female is the superior species against you. I'm just going to be honest and let you know that now.
Okay.
So the average life expectancy for a Black male is 68 years of age. 68. And we retire with Social Security at age, you can start at 62, but the average age is 65. So you can work all your life, but you may only benefit from your Social Security dollars just 3 years, Larry, 3 years, dying at the average of 68 years of age. Now, Black females, we live a little bit longer. We're close to 72 years of age. But this is critical, and I say that because Medicare kicks in once you're 65 and older. That's the best reimbursement, and that's the best benefits that you can get. Now, Medicaid is for the clients who are lower income, in the poverty range, okay? And the reimbursements are not as great for the Medicaid population as it is for Medicare. But we primarily see Medicaid if you're pregnant, having children, or it's for children for Medicaid. And it's also for individuals who may have special disabilities, or they may be immunocompromised, like they may have kidney failure or some of those items. But it's not for everybody under the age of 65. So I would love to see if we could lower the Medicaid age from 65 down to 50 years of age, where we see a significant impact, I believe, in improving my health outcome if we were able to do that. So now that's just one of my major platforms that the NMA is going to be looking at. But let me tell you about my other 3 to 4 that I think are just as critical. So we know that heart disease is the number one killer in this country. Number one killer for people of color, no matter what your race, is the number one killer. Cancer is the number 2 killer. So if I could address the number one killer, heart disease, that could be huge in saving a lot of lives. And we've got some newer medications that are out there that are these, what they're called, these weight losing medications that we've been traditionally using to treat patients with diabetes. We have now found that people can lose 15, 20 pounds by being on this treatment for diabetes. But we now know you can use the same medication for treatment for obesity. And studies have shown, primarily in Europe, though, have shown that if you're on these weight losing medications, you can reduce myocardial infarctions. That's a heart attack for you layman folks. You can reduce heart attacks by nearly 30%, 28%. So if I could prevent a third of the heart attacks by being on this treatment for obesity, that's huge.
That's huge.
And we do see a decrease in strokes by about 7%.
That's very interesting.
So that's, yes. So, but we need to have Congress approve. There's an obesity treatment act that we know that any federal employee has access to this medication. Okay. And we know the veterans have access to this medication. But we love to figure out how we can get it on the formulary for Medicaid and Medicare, so that those people who are lower income or have lack of insurance might be able to obtain these medications at hardly no cost. Now, the tragic news is, we've all heard about what happened in Madison, Wisconsin, just yesterday, just heartbreaking, where a young 15-year-old student, it appears, may have killed a teacher and some other students and then killed herself. She's believed to be the suspect, this 15-year-old individual. And so we've got to figure out violence prevention, really targeting our teenagers, our young adults, where we don't want to have accidental deaths, okay? We don't want to have anyone having access under the age of 18 to a loaded gun and not be responsible. We've got gun locks, we've got storage boxes. And so, but it also appears that sometimes people and I don't know, I don't have any clue what the situation was in this case, but that person must have been um, driven and must have been under a lot of stress or whatever to do something of that nature and take their life. That was like you're concerned that this might have been suicide as part of this event that happened. And so we're going to have to wait until the investigation is over. But we hear a lot of instances where parents or adults in the home don't believe that their children or anybody can access a loaded gun, and because of maybe bullying or just for whatever reason stress and maybe related to homework, or they could have broken up in a relationship, feel the need that they have to bring a loaded weapon into a school setting or any place where it can cause harm to others or to themselves. Now,
Well,
you and I know,
yes. Well,
yeah.
Dr. Caine, we're having that same problem in Philadelphia. This last week, well, we had a rash of shootings and deaths, and a lot of them involved teenagers. So this is a nationwide problem. It's certainly a problem of all of the major cities. And if you remember, going back, we have declared that violence is a public health issue. And it's certainly an issue that we can address in terms of mental health, in terms of laws and so forth. It's not just a criminal justice issue. So you can hire more police, you can have more courts, but that's not getting to the root cause for this thing.
No, I really think it's so incredible. See, we're so computerized now. You got TikTok, you got all these different programs, so the exposure is at a much higher magnitude when they're facing stress or communications to an individual. And mental health, I don't care what anybody tells you, is the number one issue in a lot of communities. And some folks self-medicate themselves in order to handle their stress and may develop a substance use disorder. Okay, but we definitely desperately need more mental health counselors, but we also need our parents, our relatives, our colleagues to recognize when someone is under a significant amount of stress and we don't pay as much attention or we don't recognize the symptoms. So we need a broader base training and understanding and to understand those signals when someone may be in trouble.
I think you're absolutely correct, and I'll agree with you, wholeheartedly on that one. I can remember I was on the board of the American Association, Medical Association, and we had our convention. I think it was in Florida or somewhere, and the issue came up, about guns. So I was the only one there that had a different opinion on what was going on, because one of the things that it's indisputable. We just have too many guns. America's the only place. I think there's only two places in the world where you have a constitutional right to carry a firearm. Only two places. And of course, those two places have one of the highest murder rates and so forth and so on. So I'm not even sure if we can even tackle that issue at this point because there's just so many guns.
Yeah, but there's some ways I think you can tackle it. Now, do you drive a car?
Yes,
have you ever driven a car?
Yes.
Now, did you have to pass the driver's test to be able to drive that car, to get a driver's license?
Yes.
Right. So why is it when we buy a gun that we can't require at least a minimum of a 2-hour training for every gun that we buy, where they're taught about how, if you leave a loaded gun inside a house, that these kids, oh my goodness, they're way smarter than when I was growing up. A 2 or 3-year-old can easily find a gun under a mattress or in the drawer next to you, or even in the top of your closet. It's a piece of cake, even when they're 2 and 3 years of age. But we need to educate our parents about how smart their kids are and what kind of precautions they can take in order to store their guns properly so that they can't be used as a weapon for something that may be harmful to other people. And I think they should be required, if you're going to buy a gun, you should be required to buy this gun lock or storage box. Now, you may not use it, but I think you should be required to do it. Now, this is a personal opinion of mine. This is not the National Medical Association, but wouldn't it be wonderful that everybody had to see a little video showing what the unintended consequences are of having a loaded gun in your home? You may be grandparents and you don't think anything about it, and have your young kids coming over to your house and something like this happens. Because once you lose a child, I don't care what anybody says, it impacts you for life. All the siblings, family members, relatives, friends. That's a painful process to slowly overcome.
Yes, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I'll agree with you on that one. Those issues.
Now I have two more things that are left I got to talk about now.
Okay, go ahead.
So the next one has to do with what I call precision medicine. And this is where, if, for example, you got breast cancer, you know that more Black women have what they call the more invasive, more deadly breast cancer at a much higher rate than their white counterparts. And yet, if you do not undergo genetic testing, which can cost anywhere from $200 to $400, if you don't undergo that, then you just get the regular cocktail chemotherapy that a lot of white female patients get, but in a Black female may not be as effective. You're losing your hair possibly. You may get sick sometimes with nausea from the chemotherapy. And you may feel tired and exhausted, but you really want something where it's going to be a cure or so effective. And so, but if you can, based on your own genes that you have, and based on the particular cancer that you have, we know that certain medications work way better on those cancers.
Yes.
Works way better if you have a certain gene. But a lot of insurance companies won't pay for this. And so patients don't know, or they may not be able to afford to pay for that specific genetic testing, $200 to $400. Get it done. We need to have specific medications that are specific for us from a gene therapy. Now, there's a new products that are out there that may be life-saving and curative for sickle cell disease. It's called gene therapy. And there are two products that are out there. One of them, I think they may be pulling from the market because of side effects. And some of these products are not benign. We know that usually 1 out of 32 people who own gene therapy, they may die. Okay. But think about if you got sickle cell disease, you may die at an early age as a young adult because of complications you may experience in the hospital, life-threatening, very painful. And so if you had the chance to cure yourself from sickle cell and you never have to worry about it, this may be something you might be interested in trying. You may say the odds are okay with me. One out of every 32 people on this treatment going to die. I may decide I want to take a chance and try this gene therapy and hope that I survive. So as we learn more, as more people get on these treatments, I think we're going to see a cure for sickle cell in our lifetime without all of the very negative, life-threatening side effects that can be associated with this condition. So Precision therapy, precision medicine, that's the way to go.
All right, that sounds great. Now, I have a question for you. Do you think that we'll see a cure for HIV in our lifetime?
So I think that's going to be more difficult. I know that we've had some vaccines that we've been able to use in some of our Asian countries, but only has an efficacy of about 40 some percent. That's not good enough. You have to have a vaccine that is at least 70 to 75% effective. We're not there. This particular HIV virus is so sophisticated. It's changing all the time. It's mutating left and right. And so I'm not sure we're going to see that cure in a lifetime, but we're definitely way much closer than we were back in 1985 when we saw our very first blood test for HIV, and our very first case was officially identified in 1981. So think about it. We've gone almost 40 some years and we still have not got a cure for HIV. But let me tell you what we've got. We've got some incredible medications, and we've got a new medication that's coming up. One injection, just take twice a year, every 6 months. It looks like it's going to be over 99% effective in preventing HIV infection. Get that shot every 6 months, just twice a year, and you don't necessarily have to worry about someone having HIV that you may be intimate with. Because the problem with HIV infected patients, clients, is they can have no symptoms for at least a minimum of 11 years. They're unaware that they're HIV infected. They don't know. So it's not like they're intentionally giving it to you, but they may not be aware. And unfortunately, they can transmit it to you. But you can either take this new injection every 6 months. Currently, right now, we have an injection you can take every 2 months and have greater than 95% effectiveness, 97% effectiveness in preventing HIV if you take an injection every 2 months. And so now we also have one pill. If you're a pill taker, and we got a pill that's got 3 medications combined all into one tablet a day provides you that same level of effectiveness. Okay, it's called HIV PrEP medications that can prevent you from getting HIV. But here's the problem. We have a lot of our young clients, teenagers, late teenagers, young adults. It's just hard. They're not compliant. They don't want to take that one pill a day. They feel healthy. Why should I take this one pill a day? And so I love the idea that we might eventually get an injection, and maybe only twice a year. Hey, I'll come to you, to your apartment, to your house, give you that injection. You don't even have to come to me. But it can dramatically reduce the number of HIV because no one will be transmitting HIV
Yes.
to others unsuspectedly.
Yeah, and they have your prophylaxis now. I in a clinic where we have a prep walk-in program, so people can walk in, get their blood drawn, and walk out with the medicine or the treatment the same day. They don't even have to come back. So part of this whole strategy, I agree with you, is getting it out and getting it available to people. And then, of course, there's the post-exposure prophylaxis for
Yes.
people who are
And so this
normally,
medicine
yes,
works very well too. So if you've been exposed and you think someone is high risk and possibly HIV, you just got 24, 48 hours to get in and get this medicine, but it can prevent you from becoming HIV infected. So, you really have to be conscious of your the treatments that are out there. We see 40,000 new HIV cases every year. 40,000. We suspect that 13% of the whole HIV positive population are unaware that they are infected. They just don't know. They haven't been tested. So I think that that's really critical, that we need to know our status. We need to be tested. And hey, you don't have to get a blood test to be tested for HIV anymore. They do these oral swabs. You can do an oral swab and find out whether you're infected or not. But we got some great treatments now. No one is dying from HIV like they used to before. You can live till you're in your 60s and your 70s and 80s because of the new treatments and regimens that we have for a lot of the opportunistic infections that you get. But hey, why even worry about getting treatment for some illness if you're HIV infected, if you can prevent it completely?
Right. Yes.
And it's important. People want to have children, and what's that possibility related to that? So it's important to think about your health.
Yeah. So we got time for one additional topic, and this is one that's been on my mind, and that is infant mortality and maternal health. So I've been looking at some dismal statistics in terms of this issue. What do you think some are the solutions or things that we can deal with this very devastating problem?
So our biggest problems in the Black community is the fact that we don't get in early enough in the first trimester of our pregnancy. We're not diagnosing ourselves early enough to do that. And we see that more with our adolescent pregnant mothers in their young 20s, where they don't get in early, they don't have access to a healthcare provider, so they're reluctant. They may take a while to test themselves. And you have to start the management and treatment with those prenatal vitamins in the first trimester of care. You can't wait to start the vitamins in the last couple of months of your pregnancy and think you're going to have a good outcome with your baby. Because the prenatal vitamins, they prevent birth defects, which is the number 2 cause of babies dying from the infant mortality. The number 1 cause is prematurity. And a lot of our mothers have an iron deficiency when they start their pregnancy. So critical to address this while they are pregnant. But while we have a high rate of infant mortality, and don't forget, we've got the stress syndrome, okay? Weathering. Black women face a lot of stress. People of color. And so it's that extra steroid, that chase, run or flight of running when you're exposed to stress. We have those steroid levels at a much higher level because of the stress we face in our environment. And so that needs to be managed. Even a simple bladder infection, a kidney infection, if it's not treated, can result in a low birth weight baby, okay? And you're in an intensive care unit, and that premature or low-income baby may be at higher risk for asthma later on in life. Now, that's just the babies, the infant mortality part. We have to be very concerned about maternal mortality. So the moms are dying within a year of delivering their baby, or even dying during their pregnancy, okay? Serena Williams, our famous tennis star, she went to the Ritzius Hospital for the pregnancy of her first child and was short of breath. And so she's telling the hospital staff, I'm short of breath. I'm concerned about I may have a blood clot. So the story is, and I hope I'm not telling the wrong story, but someone came into her room and listened to her lungs and said, "Oh, I don't hear anything. I think you're okay." And so that person was leaving the room, I guess. And I think she decided then and there that maybe her care was not as optimal as it should be. So she just called her agent, I hear, and said, "Hey, get me out of this hospital. The care is not what it should be." And the nurse, realizing that she was getting ready to leave, called somebody in headquarters. I guess they said, she's worth over $400 million. We need to find out what's going on so that she won't leave the hospital. And so I think they even got the head of their OBGYN department to come from home and talk to her. And so she expressed her concerns about her care. And she's smart enough to know, because she's had a deep vein thrombosis before in her legs, that even a plain chest x-ray can't detect the blood clot.
Right.
So when you're telling me I'm just going to get you a plain chest x-ray, and if that's negative, you're okay, she knows that's not the case. She's that smart, and she gets tired of people insulting her intelligence. You needed a CT scan in order to make that diagnosis. And guess what? They
She had
got
a
that
blood clot.
CT scan immediately, and she had a blood clot in her lungs. She could have died that night from that blood clot. That's just how small in area you can be if the diagnosis is not done and it's not done properly. So, what's my message to everybody out here? Hey, follow your gut. And if you're uncomfortable with someone is telling you about their diagnosis, or you think they don't have it right, get a second opinion. It doesn't hurt to get a second opinion. But you may want to get it from someone else, not in that same hospital system, or another colleague, because sometimes their colleagues may know their colleague is wrong, but they're not going to out their colleague. So try to see maybe you can get it from some other outside source if you're concerned about your health. And you've got to do your own reading. Okay? You can't, this is shared decision making. Only you know your body the best. Something called shared decision making. That means you're part of the decision in terms of what happens to your body.
Thank you so much, Dr. Caine. We're running out of time. And you know something? I'm going to have to get you back because I haven't got to half of the questions that I really want to ask you, because I see that you're really very knowledgeable about these issues. And certainly our guests or the people who are signed onto this platform, they are going to get some
Tell these
information.
pregnant mothers, I need you to breastfeed.
Oh, yes.
You're giving
That's very
maternal
important.
antibodies to your baby. For the first 6 months, a baby is helpless. They need mother's antibodies. Breastfeed your babies. Thank you.
All right. So thank you so much for being so insightful on the Insightful Journal. And we look forward to having you back again. Thank you so much.
I look forward to it too. And tell the city of Philadelphia, hello, hello, hello.
Okay. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so that we can bring you more guests like we have had today. Thank you so much. Talk to you later.
Cut.
Dr. Caine, this is Jerome. I want to thank you so much. Your comments were excellent, and I appreciate you sharing this time with us. How was your dinner? You said you were taking your staff out to dinner today?
Yeah, I had to take my staff out. It cost me over $500, okay? But hey, it's painful, but it's something important to do because they do a fantastic job.
Yeah. Well, thank you for allotting this time for us. And tell your assistant, Joanne, I appreciate her working through your schedule to put this together.
Well, not at all. I got a Zoom call at another 1 minute.
Okay,
So I'm
perfect
glad I
timing.
was able to squeeze you guys in. So, and just thanks for having me. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Caine.
All right. Good job, guys.
All right.
Okay. Shoot. So now, only thing I just want to say, Larry, can I ask this question, a quick question?
Yes.
I was more animated than Walter, right?
I don't know. You're going to see both segments, but
I
Dr.
gotta
Sue
see.
did
I
a
gotta see
wonderful
Walter.
job.
I can't let Walter be more animated than me now. Okay. All right.
He did a pretty good job. I mean, there were different topics, but he did a good job.
What was
Okay.
this topic on? What was this
Cuba.
topic on?
He talked about the
Oh,
healthcare
that's right.
system
That's
in
right. That's right.
Cuba.
That's right.
Yeah, he just
That's right.
came
Yeah.
back from there.
No,
I
I
might go on
definitely
that
want to
trip.
hear.
I
Yeah,
think I might
definitely
go
want to hear that.
myself. You know.
Yes, it's definitely okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.